Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
A Detroit family wants answers after their loved one is found dead inside of her home. Loved ones are remembering the life of Kiana Foster, and they gathered for a candlelight vigil and a balloon release tonight. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Karen Drew, in for Kimberly Gill.
And I'm Damon Fernandez, in for Devin Skillian. Police have ruled the death a homicide as the search for the killer continues. Jacqueline Francis was at tonight's vigil, speaking with family.
All three of Kiana Foster's children were at that memorial, including the 11-year-old daughter who discovered her mother's body.
I'm going to get justice for my mom. I don't care how long it takes.
Kiana Foster's children are desperate for answers. The 43-year-old mother hadn't been heard from in a week when her children went looking for her the day after Christmas.
She couldn't get through the front door, so she walked around to her bedroom, and she discovered, my mom's body.
Kiana's 11-year-old daughter discovered the body. The mother was killed at their home on Telegraph Road between 7 and 8 Mile in Detroit. As her kids, ages 25, 11, and the youngest, just 9 years old, remember their mom.
She was kind, outgoing, she was bubbly, she was very goofy, funny.
They're also demanding justice. Tonight, outside the house where she was killed, loved ones released balloons in Kiana's memory.
I want justice. I need everybody to speak up, speak out.
The cause of death is yet to be released. Anyone with information should contact Detroit Police, or you can submit tips anonymously at 1-800-SPEAK-UP. Reporting live from DPD headquarters tonight, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you. Well, 13 Metro Detroit House and Senate maps are a mess. They violate the Constitution and must be redrawn. That's the unanimous ruling from a federal court.
But after a day of drama, those in charge of making those maps are considering appealing to the U.S. Supreme Court. Mara McDonald live downtown tonight with this messy maps story, right? Mara, vote on that didn't happen late this afternoon. What is going on?
Karen, no vote on this late today. Why didn't it happen? Well, because not enough commissioners showed up to make it happen. Let me show you. The federal court in Grand Rapids was clear in its opinion. 13 Metro Detroit House and Senate seats violate the Constitution. The Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission used race in map making and so diluted the black vote it doesn't pass the legal smell test. The judges said the commissioners got bad advice from the experts they hired.
If you looked at this opinion from Judge Kethledge and the three judges, if you looked at this, if you read this, it's really damning. What happened. Secret meetings, a lack of transparency, using racial quotas, breaking basically the U.S. Constitution.
A coalition of Detroit Democrats sued over these maps and won. Now the court says they must be redrawn. Late today, the Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, responsible for the mess, met in a special meeting.
I would like at this time to make a motion. I would move that we file a notice of appeal and appeal with the United States Supreme Court.
But the idea of appealing that federal court decision to the U.S. Supreme Court got immediate pushback from some commissioners.
I am adamantly against it, and I just want everyone to know that publicly.
The commission's attorney begged them to discuss the issue in a closed session so they could get confidential legal advice, which they ultimately did. But when they came out of that closed session, some of the commissioners bailed, meaning they didn't have enough bodies for a quorum and couldn't take any votes. So here is where we stand right now. Any attempt at some sort of an appeal to the Supreme Court, well, that seems hopelessly stalled. In the midst of all of this, 3 commissioners have opted to resign. They'll need to be replaced. And then the expert, the one the judges said gave them bad advice, well, he opted to quit today before they could attempt to fire him. Karen DeMond.
That's all right.
We're live downtown tonight. There's just so much.
It's a mess, Mara.
What next?
Seriously, we're talking about resignations and people quitting, and then there's stalling, and now we do have a timeline, right? I mean, they have to hit a certain timeline for these seats to be redrawn.
Okay, so these maps have to be redrawn this year. That is according to the court. However, the Detroit Coalition goes back to federal court next week. We should have a better idea of steps and timeline then, but they made it clear they want these redrawn or try to at least get it done by April.
Right.
So stand by to stand by.
All right.
Back to you.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Mara.
Well, new at 11, Maine's top election officials have decided to remove former President Donald Trump from the state's presidential primary election ballot.
Maine becomes the second state to disqualify Trump from its 2024 primary ballot. The move comes after Colorado's state Supreme Court ruled on the issue last week, citing Trump's role in the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. In a 34-page decision, Maine's Democratic Secretary of State writes that Trump's actions around January 6th compelled her to rule him ineligible. However, the decision will not be enforced until the courts weigh in on the issue.
Tonight, a former Southfield public school teacher is facing 4 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Now, the investigation into Lamar Willis started back in March when a parent went to administration with allegations. Willis was suspended and an investigation got underway. We now know police interviewed 15 children. Reports are accusing Willis of a list of inappropriate behaviors, including coercing students at MacArthur K-8 Academy to perform sexual acts on one another and showing children pornography. We spoke to a child psychologist about how parents can open a dialogue with their own children about the risks of someone taking advantage of them.
They ask about it, first ask, what do you know? What would you like to know? Sometimes it's not exactly what you think. Different age levels are, more understanding of this at a different place. But it's always important to say, we want you to feel safe at home and we want you to feel safe at school. And if something doesn't feel quite right, you can always talk about it.
And that's not it. Willis was also charged with 3 counts of accosting children. He resigned from his job at Southfield Schools back in June, and he's currently on administrative leave from his position with Detroit Public Schools.
Today marks 5 years since Metro Detroit native Paul Whelan was taken into custody by Russian authorities. Whelan was arrested in Moscow on December 28, 2018. It was on charges of espionage, later sentenced to 16 years in prison. He has denied those charges from the very beginning. A prisoner swap with Russia last year brought home WNBA star Brittany Griner, but not Paul. In a recent phone call with CNN, the former U.S. Marine urged President Biden to pull out the stops and do whatever needs to be done to bring him home. In a statement released today, Paul Whelan's brother David writes, Paul is pushed to desperate measures because he is at his wit's end as to why he is still there. He has seen a job he loved eliminated, lost a home he lived in for more than a decade, grieved a beloved family dog dying, and can see that it's a race against time to see if he will see our parents again. David Whelan goes on to say, someone asked me about the 5th anniversary and what it meant. It doesn't mean anything. Paul has served about 1/3 of his unjust sentence. We continue to hope that he will not have to serve at all, but anniversaries are just another day trying to survive this ordeal.
Well, it's been a very gloomy day, but it looks like the rain slacked up a little bit. You see Campus Martius right now. It was busy downtown today. That didn't stop folks from going out and about. Ron Hilliard is in tonight for Kim Adams. Ron, how are things looking?
Well, we continue to see the rain showers out there, and I imagine it's a lot of work to keep the ice rink nice and smooth for the skaters out there. A Zach Track 40 radar showing the showers across southeast Michigan starting to wind down a little bit, but they are not out of our forecast. We will see them into our Friday as well. Taking a closer look right now, we see the showers along I-96, the South Lyon area, Brighton, Howell. We have the showers still with us. We're also seeing those showers into central portions of Metro Detroit and on the east side of town. A few of those showers popping up around Beverly Hills and Berkeley and Birmingham. You get into Macomb and Romeo, also seeing some showers and right around downtown Detroit and downriver. So we have the wet road conditions across the area, but we thankfully are not seeing any freezing conditions tonight. Ground still very warm out there. Current temperatures across the region in the 40s. We have the rain showers moving in from the east. We are cloudy. We have a little bit of fog and mist and drizzle out there, depending on your location. Current temperatures right now, 44 in Detroit, 41 in Howell, 42 in Pontiac, 40 in Monroe. Temperatures will be changing as well over the next few days. The latest on what to expect over the weekend and, of course, your New Year's Day. That's all coming up.
All right, Ron. Well, they tried breaking the streak in Boston tonight.
Kobe's got the highlights of the Pistons' quest to break the NBA's longest losing streak.